And we're live. Hello and welcome to the MLM for CEOs channel. Really good to have you here. As you can see from behind me, I'm not in my Cape Town studios anymore. We're sitting in a little place called Utrecht that's just south of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Wonderful place. If you ever want to come and visit me, if you're dropping in this area, please look me up and we can have a nice beer together or coffee together, whatever is your preference. Before I get started, I want to just thank NetReady for sponsoring this particular podcast. They've been doing a lot of sponsorship of our podcasts over the last few years, and we're very, very grateful that they're prepared to help us in this way. Also, before I get started, please remember to hit that bell, like us, subscribe to the channel, because all of that helps to push our business up in the algorithms to make it more visible. Right, today what I want to talk to you about is getting paid, your credit card gateway. Now, this is a minefield, guys. It's an absolute minefield, and you've got to be really, really careful of how you're dealing with it. So the first thing is the easiest way to get paid is credit card. Person comes along, they pop their product into the shopping cart, they check out. At the end of the checkout process, they use their credit card and they make payment. Now, there's a couple of problems that you have in here because once they've made payment, you deliver the product. But they can always come back and dispute that credit card transaction and get their money back. And that is a major problem because you've got to have contracts in place to ensure that if they dispute it, that you can actually fight it. But having said that, in all of my years, I seldom see somebody who successfully manages to defend a dispute. It's a real challenge on that front. So we are very careful when it comes to credit card transactions. You need to know who you're dealing with. You need to make sure you're doing a clean deal, that the product is getting sent, that you've got proof that the product's getting sent, so that when there's a dispute, you can prove categorically that you actually delivered the product to the client. So that's how the process works. But the problem is the gateways don't like multi-level marketing businesses. So if you go to a gateway and you say to them, listen, I'm an MLM company and I want to use your gateway to take transactions to do my sales, they're just going to say no. Now, there are gateways that are MLM friendly. And that I say in inverted commas, because what they do is they'll take anything from 6 to 10% in transaction fees for you to use their gateway. And the reason for this is they really think of multi-level marketing as a very risky business. So that's where the problem lies. They put us into the same category as gambling and pornography. So you'll see in their terms and conditions, we don't deal with gambling, pornography, or multi-level marketing. So, I mean, it's a hell of a place to be in. But the reason is that there's been so many scam artists out there that have used this type of business to scam people. They've built pyramid schemes or they've built Ponzi schemes, and then they've got the money via the credit card gateways, and the credit card gateways have been caught up in these Ponzi schemes, in these pyramid schemes. They don't know the difference between that and a proper, legitimate direct selling or MLM business. They don't know. So they're not prepared to take any risks. So if you're in an MLM business, they lump you in with pyramid schemes, they lump you in with Ponzi schemes. Boom, we don't deal with those kind of companies, and you don't get a credit card gateway to sign up for you. Either that, or if you do, you're paying exorbitant amounts of money to do the transactions. So they see this as a very high risk. And the second thing is that for you, it's a very high risk because if people start disputing your transactions, you sit there fighting non-stop to try and recover your money. So it's a hell of a thing when these things go pear-shaped. So I'm going to give you some advice here and hopefully help you to navigate this minefield and come out the other side safe and secure. So the first thing is that what you don't want to do is you don't want to confuse your multi-level marketing business with your e-commerce business. Remember, your business is split into two different camps. On the one side, people will come to your site. They'll put your product into the shopping cart. They'll check out. They'll make payment, and they'll get delivered the product. So that's a straight e-commerce play. On the other side, you've got your MLMers. And what they're doing is they're using their word of mouth, their advertising spend, their social media environments to drive people to your e-commerce website. These two groups don't have anything to do with each other. The MLMers drive traffic for you. So they get customers to come and purchase from you. Those customers come onto your website, put a product in the basket, check out, pay with a credit card. The MLMers don't have anything to do with that. So When you put your website together, the first thing that you must do is you must make sure that there is not a single ounce of any reference to multi-level marketing, to direct selling, to affiliate programs, to anything on your website. That website must be a pure e-commerce website. It must be purely for selling your product, and your credit card gateway must be registered with that website, which is an e-commerce play, not a multi-level marketing play. And if you've got any reference whatsoever to that e-commerce website, I promise you, you'll either have your account shut down or they won't give you an account in the first place. So that's the first thing. When you set up your website, make sure you've got all of your terms and conditions and your privacy statements and all of those things on board, specifically geared towards the customer, that you've got zero on your website that points to multi-level marketing downlines or any kind of MLM play. And then make sure that the entire transaction flow is customer-based, that your products are retail priced, that you don't have special discounts for distributors. That kind of stuff mustn't show up at all anywhere on the website, because this must be a pure e-commerce website. Now, the second thing is, just remember that when they inspect your website, they're going to look to see what you're doing. They're going to look to see what your product is. Now, your product has to be good value for money. If you're selling gravel for thousands of dollars a grain, then I can promise you they're going to see it's a scam and they're going to close you down. So don't do something like that. Keep that out of the mix completely. Make sure that your product is a good value offering, that people will buy that product regardless of the business opportunity, because what you want to do is you want to have a steady flow of customers buying your product. The MLMers are driving traffic, but the customers are buying the product. So you must make sure that that is the way that your business is structured. Right, then if for any reason somebody wants a refund, don't argue with them. Just give them the refund. It's really a huge problem. If you start arguing with them, then they're going to go and they're going to put in a claim. And if that claim goes through, you're going to make the credit card gateway extremely nervous. So whatever you do, don't go out there and create problems for yourself by not giving a person a refund. It's peanut money. Just give them their refund, give them their money back, make sure that they're happy, and move on. What you don't want to do is now start arguing about something small and then land up costing your business. So that's a very key one as well. And if you don't do this, let me explain to you what the credit card gateways do. They decide that you're not legitimate or you've got too many chargebacks. And then what they do is they freeze your account. So they take all the money that's in your account and they hold it. And then they decide that you're actually not doing what they're happy with. And the way that they respond to that is without notification, without anything. They give all your money back to your clients. Now remember, you've already given them the product. Now they're giving your money back to the clients. And now they shut your entire gateway down, so you can't take money, you don't have money, and your clients have got their money back and you don't have your product. So these gateways can be vicious, and if you don't get it right, they can really cost you your business. So this is a story, and it's with a company called PayPal. You might have heard of them. I'm sure you've heard of them actually. So PayPal is one of the worst offenders in this department. So a company we knew was doing business with PayPal, and they were using PayPal as a bank. So had $1 million sitting in PayPal, and they were transacting. And PayPal decided they didn't like what they were doing because they were getting too many chargebacks. And so they shut their account down, froze all of their money, gave their money back to the clients, and because my client had lost $1 million in cash plus $1 million of product, it wiped his business out completely. He went bankrupt. Now, the reason I'm posting this particular video today is because we have the same problem with another client of ours who ignored our advice, tried to amalgamate their MLM and their e-commerce business together, and had the MLM stuff all over the e-commerce site, and they got caught. Now, the issue is that when they first put their site out there, they didn't have anything about the MLM business in. And then they got their account, and then they thought they'd be clever and go and pile a whole lot of stuff about multi-level marketing on their site. Well, these companies, every 3 months, they reevaluate your account. And they go back to your website. They go to see what you're doing. And then they see what you're doing, and then they shut your account down. They take your money, give it back to your clients, and that's it. You're gone. So it's really important that you play this down the line, that you play it straight, that you play it honest. because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. So, first thing is never use PayPal. Those guys are a bunch of rascals and take your money for sure, I guarantee it. The second thing is split your businesses. Have an e-commerce business and have a MLM business, separate businesses. In the e-commerce business, just sell your product. On the MLM business, make sure that you are recruiting MLMers to drive traffic to your e-commerce business or to sell the product directly to an end user themselves. They buy the product, they sell it on. If you do those two things, you're 100% absolutely legal, above board, and you've got no problems. Never make any mention of MLM on your website. Keep that out of the mix. And then the other thing is that with your affiliate program, make sure every one of your agents has got a URL, a unique, distinct URL. We call it web replication, but make sure that they can advertise and market their URL out there and drive people to the website. Also, make sure that you are controlling the messages. Don't allow your network to go out there and blast the world full of messages about join the network and become a distributor selling these products. Make sure that messaging is not happening. You need to control that messaging, because if that messaging is out there, what's going to happen is the gateways are going to get wind of it. They're going to tie that MLM team to your e-commerce site. They're going to shut you down, give your money back, and close your business down. So make sure that your MLMers, your distributors, are doing things right as well, that they are driving people to the site to buy. Then if the person buys, that's a legitimate e-commerce sale, you can pay them commission. It's a commission for driving traffic to your site, completely legitimate way of doing business. Then, replicate your website, marketing material, that must be straight out of your book, social media strategies, that must be generated by the company and driven by the company, so that when the customer purchases, there are no problems. Now, again, as I said earlier, they will inspect your website going forward. So don't get clever and add anything to your website down the road. I mean, that's just a disaster. It's a problem waiting for a place to happen. Now, lastly, when you set up your business and you start running your e-commerce play, make sure that you are taking every cent out of that credit card gateway the second that it hits the gateway. Now, I normally do it daily, so every single day, empty that account out. Make sure that the guys are pushing the money back to you on a daily basis. Because the second that they're holding on to your money for 3, 5, 10, 15, 30 days, as soon as that builds up, your risk, your exposure becomes really, really high. So the idea is take that money, make sure that you're taking it out of the gateway and putting it into your own personal bank, so that if something goes pear-shaped, if something goes sideways, they have very, very little money of yours to grab. Then lastly, don't rely on one gateway, because if one gateway shuts you down, you need to be able to switch on another one instantly. So my recommendation is get yourself 3 or 4 gateways, make sure you got 3 or 4 accounts, and then trade with one of them. And if you have problem, you can swap over to a second one instantly. And if that one gives you a problem, you can swap over to a third one. And then make sure you've got other ways of taking money. Make sure that you've got EFT or direct deposit as an option. Make sure you've got other methods of getting cash, possibly use crypto, or possibly use things like Pamyent, where people fund their cards and you can take the money straight out of the card via your e-commerce store. So there's a lot of ways of protecting yourself here and ensuring that you don't land up in trouble. So I hope this helped you. I hope this was something of interest, and I hope that you do the things that are necessary to not get yourself into trouble with the credit card gateways, and that your business is able to trade non-stop because you've done these things right. Thank you very much for your time. Again, remember to hit the bell, like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next podcast.